Tucker, do you find it weird, because I do, that they look at numbers, right? It's all a business, right? This is a business. The First is a business. The Tucker Carlson Network, it is a business. It's not a charity. They're looking at numbers. They're looking at their numbers go down. They're looking at their viewership go down. And nobody, not the CEOs, not the hosts, nobody is even suggesting a change of course. It's like the one thing they can do to save themselves, they refuse to do it. And I think it's baffling.
And they're all becoming more alike. That's the amazing thing. I mean, if something's not working, if I look over at my neighbor and he's doing something counterproductive, I think to myself, well, I probably shouldn't do that because that's the result of it. And yet every news organization is becoming more like every other news organization. And it's not working for any of them. So you're wondering, like, what is this? And it's it's delusion, it's a religion, but it's also like a lack of self-awareness. They don't talk to anybody but one another, and so they blame their failure on irrelevant factors. Like, they're like, well, it's just like viewer habits have changed. Well, viewer habits have changed because you're a liar, and you have no more credibility, and no one would watch you because what's the point of listening to things that aren't true? But that never occurs to them. And I've worked at every one of those places full time. And so I think I've got a pretty good perspective on this. These are people who are, high achievers on the SAT. I think they have high IQs, most of them, but they're so unwise. It's almost unbelievable.
Where do you think they get the disdain for normal people? Like, you brought up the January 6ers, and I love that you talk about them. We've been talking about them for 3 years now. It's awful, but you could really sense it from these people if you read their social media posts, you see their broadcasts. Not even Republicans, Democrats, just normal people. They really do look on them with such disdain. They tell everybody now that the economy's doing well. You see it all the time. New York Times, media, the economy's great. I don't know why people are complaining. Check the numbers. People are paying $6 for a pound of burger in the grocery store, and these people lecture them about how well they're doing.
Of course. Well, it's a really simple principle that's a feature of human nature, and that's what you're watching. It's that you hate the people you wrong. You would think you'd feel empathy for the people you wrong, or guilt over wronging them. But it's just totally true. The kinder you are to somebody, the more you like that person. It's one of the reasons you love your kids. You're wired to be nice to them, and so the nicer you are, the more you cherish them. But if you do someone a bad turn, if you're unfair to someone, if you're cruel to someone, if you screw someone in a business deal, you wind up hating that person, as grotesque as that is. That's just true. And legacy media have really hurt middle-class America. And the more they hurt middle-class America, and in really measurable ways, by ignoring their deaths, life expectancy declines, mostly because of the opioid crisis, but also because of diabetes and just the general poverty that's descended on the middle class. And the media ignore that. In fact, they celebrate it and get into this, we hate white people, we hope white people die. And the more they say stuff like that, the more, the anti-white racism, the total disregard for ordinary people, the more they hate those people. It's super interesting, even though those people have never done anything to them, ever, of course.